Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Dana Lightsey. I am your minister, and it's wonderful to be your worship associate today. I know, I caught you by surprise. Today is a very special day, and it's going to be a wonderful service, so I'm glad you're here. I love the fact that we like to say, this is a come as you are congregation. Did you come as you are this morning? Good. However you came, you are welcome here, just as you are. So I want to extend a special welcome to any of our visitors today. We are delighted that you are joining us. We would love to stay connected, so please sign up for our communications at the main entrance. Here at Namakwa Unitarian Universalist Congregation, we foster a beloved community that celebrates diversity, strives for peace and justice, acts mindfully for the good of the planet, and inspires spiritual growth through a free and loving search for truth and meaning. We honor the ground we walk upon and acknowledge this land as the traditional and ancestral home of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples. We recognize and honor the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. I wanted to let you know about next Sunday. I will be sharing with you about my experience with the Middle Eastern spiritual tradition of Sufism. We will learn from the great Sufi poets, including Rumi and Hafiz, maybe a little Kabir, I don't know. This service is requested by last year's auction winner, Kathy Hartman, for the sermon of your choice. Should be fun. And just so you know, Slip is also going to be joining me in that service as a poet. She's a poet professor, so I will be tapping into some of their other gifts. Next week after the service, you are invited to the new board forum with the Board of Trustees in the sanctuary. We will discuss our recent, very successful Giving and Gratitude campaign, fun campaign. And in an effort to honor our goal of transparency, Treasurer Alan Van Nest will give us an update on Namakwa's current financial situation and plans. This morning, you might have noticed an extra piece of paper in your order of service, and that is a form for you to fill out. And if you would do that even right now or sometime during the service, we would be really, really grateful. It's to update your information in the church database, our Breeze. This includes a media release, so we have your permission, or not have your permission, to use photos that might be taken at events of you and or your children in the news, for the newsletter and the announcements. These are mostly circulated among our community, but they are public documents. And it is important that we respect everyone's wishes. So please do fill out that media release. And we would also love to include your birthday and wedding anniversaries and other such things in our newsletter. And yet we don't actually know most people's birthdays or anniversaries. So there's a calendar that's being passed around. We would be really grateful if you would, starting with Kathy up here, if you would jot down your name on your actual date that you want to have remembered and what it's for. So do make sure to say birthday or anniversary. And don't forget your children if you would like them remembered as well. Today, if you have a brief personal joy or sorrow that you would like to share in today's service, but do not want to come forward to the microphone, you are welcome to write it down on a piece of paper to be collected by the ushers during the offering. I think we have extra paper in the back. Do we have forms? Great, we have some extra forms at the welcome table. So please also take note of all of our other events happening this week and this month on the calendar. I think you might have it printed in your order of service. I'm not sure if it got in there this week. We do have copies of it in the back. So many thanks for everyone involved in today's service, including our wonderful musician, Brian Marvel, and our others. We have additional speakers today. We have Sue Matthews and Vonne Zdenek. I never say it right. Zdenek. Did I do it? Okay. So. And on Zoom, Jeanne Miller will be joining us. She's recovering from COVID and it rebounded, so she thought it would be best if she stayed home, but she'll be joining us on Zoom for our chalice lighting. I want to thank Kat and Clay for running audio-visual, and Kat is running Zoom today. So thank you. And we have Loretta and Norma as our ushers. Thank you. But we especially want to thank our guest speaker, Julie Burkhart. And it is my privilege to introduce you to Julie, who is the co-owner of Hope Clinic in Granite City, Illinois, with plans underway to expand Hope to serve more people in Illinois and beyond. Hope Clinic saw well over 8,000 patients for abortion care in 2023. Whew, that number blows my mind. She is also the founder and president of Wellspring Health Access, a nonprofit dedicated to expanding access to reproductive health care in abortion deserts, such as the clinic in Casper, Wyoming, which is the sole abortion provider in the entire state. Along with 5 other co-plaintiffs, she is currently in litigation to keep abortion legal in the state of Wyoming. Some of us are surprised that it actually is, so amazing, great. In 2009, she found Trust Women and was at the helm as its CEO for 12 years. She built Trust Women from her kitchen table into a $5 million organization. She established 2 abortion clinics from the ground up, as well as overseeing the acquisition of a 3rd reproductive health care center. And I just have to say, poking around on the internet, she's also been featured in many very well-known newspapers, such as the Washington Post. Did I see the New York Times on that list? I thought so. And many, many others. You can Google her, check it out. Please welcome Julie as she shares our opening words. Thank you.
Good morning. These are the words by, Jill Ruckelhaus at the California State Convention's 1977 National Women's Political Caucus meeting. We are in for a very long haul. I am asking for everything you have to give. We will never give up. You will lose your youth, your sleep, your patience, your sense of humor, and occasionally, the understanding and support of people you love very much. In return, I have nothing to offer you but your pride in being a woman, a person, and all your dreams you've ever had for your daughters, nieces, and granddaughters, for all children. Your future, and the certain knowledge that at the end of your days, you will be able to look back and say that for once in your life, you gave everything you had for justice.
Thank you very much. I'd like to invite us now to celebrate who we are together by saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service our call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I invite you now to share this love by turning and greeting all of those around you. invite you to stand if you would like and join in singing If Every Woman in the World Had Her Mind Set on Freedom. What a powerful thing that would be, wouldn't it? Thank you. And I happen to have a story for all ages. Is there anybody who wants to join me? Come on, you guys. I need some company up here. Awesome. We're going to sit down. Did you see the picture up there? Did you see that poor guy looking so sad up there? Oh my goodness. I'm going to tell you about him. His name is Scott. And he was very nervous for his first day of middle school. Are you in middle school? Oh man, I bet you can relate to this story. Middle school for him started in 5th grade. Does it start in 5th grade? It starts 6th grade here, right? Yeah. So he. Sometimes it starts in 7th grade. I know, it changes all over. So 5th grade is pretty young. And he was going to be among the youngest kids in the school, and everything was new to him. His backpack and lunch were ready, and he even wore his favorite pink t-shirt for good luck. When he got off the bus and he started to walk into the school, he realized how big the 7th and 8th graders were. And he didn't see any of his friends. And inside the school, he followed the signs to his homeroom, room 205. And suddenly he felt himself being slammed into some lockers on the side of the hall. And when he looked up, there were at least 5 older kids looking down on him. "Hey there, girly boy," the tallest one scowled. "Boys don't wear pink in this school, you hear?" "Yeah," said another one with a really deep voice. "And if you do it again, you're gonna get a beating." The first boy grabbed him by the backpack and lifted him off the ground. Oh my goodness. A teacher's voice called, "Break it up and keep moving." Do things like this happen in your school? Oh, I'm so glad.
No, my school's better.
Yeah, right. Good. Good. A teacher's voice called, "Break it up, keep on moving." And the gang of boys moved off. Scott looked up, and it didn't seem as if the teacher had even seen him in the middle of all of that, but several other students did. And two equally tall boys came over to Scott. And he started to walk away, but one of them put out his hand and said, "Hey man, it's okay. I'm Travis." "I'm David," said the other boy. "We saw what happened back there. What did those kids say to you?" And Scott told them what had happened and the threat that they had made. "That's ridiculous," said Travis. "You can wear whatever you want at this school." Travis and David walked Scott to his homeroom. "We'll be keeping an eye out for you, Scott," they promised. And that day after school, Travis and David went back to David's house, and they were talking, and David said, "It makes me so mad that a few bullies tell everyone what they can and can't wear. We should do something about it." "Yeah, but what can we do?" asked Travis. "We could tell the teachers," David suggested. "Yeah, but they still do it on the bus or recess or after school," said Travis. "We need to take it to the people," said David. "Yeah," said Travis, and a look of excitement growing on his face. "Hey, I have an idea. Let's ask our friends if they will all wear pink on Monday." "Yeah," said David, "not just our friends, but everyone." "Excellent," grinned Travis. "I can see it now, a sea of pink." So they called their friend Adam to tell him the plan, and he suggested they go to the mall and buy a whole bunch of pink t-shirts. And they asked their friends to chip in, and they bought 75 t-shirts for kids who didn't have pink. They decided to send out the word to everyone in the Facebook, everyone in school, and just about everyone was on Facebook. That's old school now. Yeah, maybe on TikTok. We should make a TikTok, yeah. The word spreads fast. Anyhow, the next Monday, David and Travis were at school early with their boxes of 75 pink t-shirts. Many kids got off the school with pink t-shirts on, and those who didn't got to take one out of the boxes. Travis and David also brought pink fabric, and some of the kids used it to make armbands. One kid even brought a pink baseball to recess. Basketball, sorry. Pink basketball. At least 415 of the students in the school, over half the kids, both boys and girls, wore pink. You're wearing pink right now. I like your pink. You kind of got pink and purple, and those are beautiful. Wow, love it. Okay, that day in the school, what do you think about the bullies? What did they do? What do you think? Well, they were very mad, but how can they get mad at 415 kids, right? So they gave the kids all dirty looks, and one of them even threw a chair in the cafeteria, but people just laughed at them. And the bullies knew that the boys had gotten their message across, a message about bullying and people looking out for each other. It made almost everyone in the school feel happier. Doesn't it make you feel happier when we stand up for each other? And what about Scott? He wore his favorite pink t-shirt to school that Monday underneath his sweatshirt. And when he got off the bus and he saw how many kids were wearing pink, he took off his sweatshirt and wore his good luck pink t-shirt proudly. So even grown-ups, we have bullies even as grown-ups, you know. And sometimes, often actually, they want to tell us how to live our lives too. So it is part of who we are as Unitarian Universalists to come together to stand up to bullies so that all people can choose the life that is best for them. The key is coming together and working together. But you already knew that, didn't you? Yeah, I know. All right, these guys are well educated. Let's sing about the class, shall we? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, on up. I'd like to introduce Sue Matthews, Vonne Zdenek, and Jeanne Miller, who are doing our chalice lighting.
Can you hear me? I'm Sue Matthews, a member of this wonderful congregation and chair of the Social Justice Ministry. At this time, we have approximately 11 members that meet monthly and many more that volunteer for events such as the Loveland Community Kitchen, LGBTQIA rights, climate change activities, etc. All of us are encouraged to choose one or two of our passions, do our research, and act upon them. Not only do these events bring us closer together as a congregation, but we actually make positive changes in our community. Presently, we have 3 climate warriors that are proposing new science-based attainable goals to our city council and have been very well received. There's an opportunity to help the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation again, and you will hear more about that soon. My personal passion is reproductive rights due to my experience as an obstetrical nurse for 30 years. I observed and assisted in many incidents where patients and their physicians made the difficult decision to end a pregnancy for the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health of the pregnant person. 3 of us on the reproductive task force are trained to distribute petitions to allow citizens to vote on amending our state constitution for the right of a pregnant person to choose whether to continue their pregnancy. As we are trained to escort patients from their cars to an abortion clinic. I am thrilled to have Julie Burkhart here with us today. If any of these subjects speak to your heart, I encourage you to join us. I invite all of you to learn more about our ministry. We welcome planners, activists, educators, financial supporters, whatever your comfort level is. I believe in the wise words of Martin Luther King Jr. when he said, "In the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." Thanks.
Good morning, I'm Vonne Zdenek. UUA says, and I quote, "As part of a liberatory reproductive justice movement, we affirm our commitment to building a world in which all people are able to make choices about their bodies, their health, and their families within safe, thriving communities." Foothills already had an existing reproductive task force as part of their social justice council. So when they asked Sue, Jeanne, and me to meet them, we did, and were given a very warm welcome. They have also reached out to the Greeley UU congregation. By joining forces, we are all better informed of what is happening in our area and that of our neighbors. My concern with a woman's right to choose began when a friend of my parents died from suicide on Mother's Day. During her first marriage, they got pregnant and were not in a position to start a family. This was in Illinois in the 1950s. They decided she should have an illegal abortion, which left her unable to conceive. They tried for many years to adopt, but it never happened. When she passed, I was a college student and missed her being a part of our family's extended community. So these opportunities to escort for Planned Parenthood and circulate petitions to get the right of choice on the ballot allow me to be able to walk my talk.
Good morning. My name is Jeanne Miller. I am a member of the Reproductive Rights Task Force because I watched my mother, a single parent in the 1950s, have all of the responsibilities of men, but very few of the rights. And that made a major impact on me. The League of Women Voters and Cobalt, which is Colorado's version of the National Association for the Repeal of Abortion Laws, or NARAL, are training people to collect signatures for a Colorado constitutional amendment for reproductive rights. You may be thinking, I thought women already had reproductive rights in Colorado. Well, that's true, but however, it was a law passed by the legislature. And what this petition does is it's a constitutional amendment that would make it much harder to reverse the law if the makeup of the legislature changes. Also, the petition guarantees that reproductive treatments are covered by medical insurance for state and local employees. The petition says, shall there be a change to the Colorado Constitution recognizing the right to abortions and in connection therewith prohibiting the state and local governments from denying, impeding, or discriminating against the exercise of that right, allowing abortion to be a covered service under health insurance plans for Colorado state and local government employees and for enrollees in state and local government insurance programs. Today, we will have petitions available for signing at coffee time in Parker Hall and at our forum after the service. If you can't stay, we'll be in the lobby when you exit. We also will be available on Sundays for the next couple of months. If you cannot leave your home, please contact one of us or Reverend Dana, and we will have someone come to you. We light this chalice for the hope of reproductive rights for all people.
Each week, you support the work of this congregation and all the ways that we live our values and walk our talk, as we are doing today. In addition to supporting this church, half of your donations will support a local nonprofit organization. And this January and February, our donations are supporting Heart and Soul of Loveland. This local nonprofit, made up of Black, Indigenous, people of color, and allies, work to promote ethnic and cultural diversity in Loveland and in partnerships throughout northern Colorado. They look to inspire conversations and influence local change by engaging with individuals, organizations, and community resources. Their goal is the same as our goal, to celebrate and embrace cultural richness for our community. Heart and Soul organizes many community events throughout the year, including the Martin Luther King event that had to be postponed, but they will be trying to find a new date for it, so we'll keep our eyes and ears open for that. So my friends, I invite you to please give generously. Thank you. So beautiful. Thank you, Ryan. And our dear ushers, if there were any joys and sorrows in the collection, please bring them to me. Thanks. There weren't? Oh. So we come together each week to share our lives and to share all that's happening in our lives, whether those are joys, sorrows, heartbreaks, anticipations, excitement, not announcements, brief personal happenings in one's life, so that we can celebrate each and every person and who we are as a community together. I invite you to respond to our joys and concerns with, "We care about you. We care about you," and we'll just pat our hearts. Thank you. So if anyone has something that you would like to share, I invite you to come forward. Anyone on Zoom, please post into the chat, and our Zoom host will read those aloud. And we didn't have any written ones today? Okay. Anyone? Come forward. Come on up, Kate. Thanks for being here. Hi.
Hi. Well, I didn't want to go first because I'm new, but
That's okay.
I'm Kate Thompson, by the way, also go by Catherine. Had 3 deaths in the family just in the past 2 months. The nearest was a week ago, my dear friend of 20 some odd years, Monica. She was a very special friend with a big heart. Just loved everyone, and she loved me for some reason. I don't know why. I always wondered. She had cancer, and she passed very quickly. And I didn't get to see her before she passed. She's in California, and the reason was because my father just passed at the end of November, and so I was still dealing with, I was in Portland, a lot of family events and unfortunate fallout from that, but I think what's really hard is that my father and I were not super close. We were ideologically opposed, and I learned to find a bridge. I was a libertard to him and his wife, and I just, learned to rise above that and love him regardless of his misunderstanding of who I was. And so it's been hard for that reason, but I've really just found the good in the fact that he brought me here to do good work. The third death is my children's other grandfather, who lives in Denmark. So they've had 2 grandfathers die within 2 weeks. It's been rough.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Sounds like it's been rough.
hearing me, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm new to Loveland as well. I moved here in August, and I've been wanting to come here, but I've just been trying to get settled in, and then the family deaths. It's been, I'm here now.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And we hold you in our hearts, and you have a community here to support you.
Thank you.
So Thank you. We hold you in our hearts. And thank you for your willingness to share. Thank you.
It's nice to see everyone here today and wherever we are. And I came to this church after a divorce and was pretty broken, and you're in the right place, Kate. And we can talk about people that didn't like us all the time and we didn't like them all the time, but there was something there, right? So I wanted to share a little thing, a journey of that. And so when I came here, I was coming out of a divorce. I have these 2 adult kids, and the one is starting a new job teaching little kids this week. And I know she'll be great at it, kindergarten and first grade. Like, are we all so jealous? I love 5th grade and high school, but wish her luck, and the journey continues.
Congratulations, Robin. We hold you and your daughters in our hearts. Okay. Nice. Okay. As we prepare for the next, I thought someone was coming up here. Leonard is back here, and he is doing so much better. It's so good you're back with us, Leonard. Leonard has been in the hospital with pneumonia, serious lung issues going on for a number of weeks. So we're glad you're back with us. Come on up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was going to come up actually before Kate came. I have joy to share, and that is that Kate and I have been together for 3 years, and she's moved from Denver to Estes to Loveland, and
Nice.
she's gone through this passage of loss, and yet we're claiming some joy in the travel, in the journey, and just coming here for the first time and hearing the justice and social and personal reverence to life really gives me a spark, because I think the struggles that we're in now are huge. Yeah. And a small congregation that meets on the corner of this 5th and Pierce, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is pretty impressive. And so I just want to give joy for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Great to have you here. And we hold you in our hearts as well.
Hello, I'm Elaine.
Hi.
And I had a great joy yesterday of sharing a welcome to the new year with my family. And yeah, I have family members who disagree with a lot of my life values and purpose, but love is what brings us all together, and we can always just hold on to that. And my family doesn't always agree with all my woo-woo things I like to do. We did flying wish papers, and if you don't know those, go find yourself some.
Yeah.
And I have a talking stick that we pass around so that everybody can practice deep listening to each other. And it was a wonderful day. And we had really good food too.
That's awesome. Elaine, we hold you and your family in our hearts. That's so wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tam. Y'all know my grandkids are in Florida, but yesterday, Caitlin let me kidnap Ocean, and we wore each other out sledding.
Nice.
The Floridian loves sledding. That was such a joy.
Great. Yahoo for sledding. We hold you and Ocean and everyone else who was enjoying and filled with joy as they sled. Thank you, Tam. Anything on Zoom?
Okay. So we just have one today from Karen Roper. She has a joy that her rehab for her knee surgery has been much easier than she had anticipated.
Woohoo!
So go Kiki.
Wonderful. Karen, we hold you in our hearts and so glad you're healing well. That's wonderful. Good. I just want to invite us to hold all the unspoken joys and concerns in our hearts for a moment as we take a nice breath in and out. celebrate all that life brings to our community as we come together to support each other. Thank you.
Take a moment to breathe into the silence. Our breath is always with us. We can always come back to the breath, our anchor, our grounding, our freedom. Spirit of life and love, we are here, not just minds and hearts, but bodies too. We, human beings, spirit and body joined together. On this day, we send out a prayer or a wish that every person, every being may be safe and well in body and in spirit. May every person be well, and may we treat every person with respect and kindness and love. On this day, when we consider the connections between our bodies and our spirits, we lift up our hope and aspiration that all people will live in freedom to give and guard their bodies as seems best to them, and to exercise their own powers of moral discernment around their fertility and creative potential. May we remember that it is especially challenging for those who are living in poverty to exercise these rights. And may our society support them in every possible way. We say a special prayer for all those who have experienced violence or abuse or any other form of damage to their being, which is so precious. May they know safety and healing. For all of us, may our physical being be a source of delight and well-being as we live in this world. May every being be safe and well in body and in spirit. May every person be well, and may we be vessels of compassion for everyone we meet. Amen. Well, good morning again. I can't tell you what a delight it is to be here with you. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm always glad to be amongst Unitarians, the church that my mom converted to when I was in 6th grade. And so it's nice to be in my spiritual home. I have now spent the vast majority of my professional life working in the reproductive health, rights, and justice realm. This was quite by accident, I'll say. And as you can imagine, and as I'm sure you know, this work is filled with turmoil and heartbreak, although we have had our triumphs along the way. One thing that has become apparent over the years is that people who are pregnant or who have the capacity for pregnancy are often treated punitively and viewed with contempt. Unfortunately, in this society, we don't fully consider the consequences that the person might face when there's a lack of comprehensive reproductive health care, nor do we consider what this lack of access does to our communities. One thing that my former boss, Dr. George Tiller, would always say about abortion is, quote, "Abortion is not a medical matter. Abortion is not a cerebral matter. Abortion is a matter of the heart. And until you understand the heart of a woman or any pregnant person, nothing about abortion makes sense at all." He would also repeatedly say that each and every pregnancy should be a welcome addition into one's own family. One thing that we do know about reproductive health care, and especially abortion, is that not everyone has the same opinion. Even though we're all gathered here today in this church, which is an expression of our shared values, I'm sure that not all of us necessarily have the same point of view when it comes to reproductive health care. However, what we can agree on is that people must be treated with love, justice, and compassion. This is an element, if you look at some of the political tides across this country, that are desperately missing from our conversations. People who have the capacity for bearing children are not made solely for that purpose. We are more complex beings. We cannot only be defined by our capacity to reproduce. The current universal theme here is clear. After the Dobbs decision, there has been a lack of love for the givers of life and for those newly created lives. And frighteningly, the worth and rights of a person disappear the second they become, or even potentially could become, pregnant in many of our states across this nation. In this country, approximately 1 in 4 women will have an abortion in their lifetimes. And that number varies depending on what you read. And 60% of people who have abortions, and at our clinics, it tends to be 70% of people who have abortions are already parents. And around 50% of patients live below the poverty level. It's clear when people come into our clinic, they're trying to make the best possible decision for themselves and their families. Their determination is made out of love. What we see now since the fall of Roe are more people struggling to access care. What does this look like? And what is the reality for the women and the people coming to see us? What havoc does it bring to their lives due to more restrictions in this country? Our Wellspring Health Access Clinic in Wyoming, which opened last April after a year's delay due to an arson, So we were supposed to open in June of 22, but we opened in April of 23 due to an arson. We are the only clinic in the state, and we serve folks not only from Wyoming, but also Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Idaho, and Utah. We've even had patients come to see us from Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, far and wide. But at the clinic, we recently had a minor, along with her parents from North Dakota, who came to see us. They had to make the long trek from North Dakota to Wyoming for this simple procedure due to the political climate in their home state. Those who oppose abortion argue that she, the patient, should continue her pregnancy due to the sheer fact that she got pregnant, even though unintentionally. However, what about the life and the dreams of the minor? Does this young person not deserve love and compassion for her life? Does she deserve an education? Does she deserve to choose with intention when to begin a family or not? Does she deserve to decide when she's financially and emotionally ready to care for another human being? These are disregarded questions that place pregnancy above the life of the person who is pregnant. Fortunately for her, she had the love and support of her parents, and then, of course, from our staff as well. In another case, we had a person in Utah travel to us for a second trimester procedure due to a fetal abnormality. You may also recall other high-profile cases recently in states such as Texas and Tennessee, where women in similar circumstances have now sued their home states. As for our patient, she had no further options because in Utah there's an 18-week ban on abortion care. Even though she was carrying a pregnancy that was incompatible with life, she was still unable to find anyone in Utah to provide this procedure for her. Even though we were able to care for her, there was great hardship. She had to source funding to help with travel, lodging, and meals due to the fact that she didn't have enough funds to pay for both her medical care and her travel. She had to take additional time off from work and time away from her family. Unfortunately, people who are in power and who write these restrictive laws often don't consider the ramifications for the pregnant person. This is not an abstract exercise. People's lives, real lives, are affected by these bans and restrictions. This illustrates a callousness and lack of caring for people who are simply trying to make the best decisions for their own lives. At my clinic in Granite City, Illinois, which is Hope Clinic, and as was referenced earlier, we saw over 8,200 abortion patients alone last year. Our pre-row numbers were about 3,500 to 4,000 patients annually. A vast majority of these patients came to us, as you might guess, from southern states, since Granite City is right across from St. Louis and in the southern half of the state. But people coming to us from southern states, places where we have some of the harshest laws and penalties against people since Dobbs. Patients travel to us driving hundreds of miles so they can simply access abortion services. An unseen outcome that we're now grappling with, now that we have data post-Dobbs, is we're seeing a higher percentage of people who are needing to access second trimester abortions. This is not only true for our clinic, Hope Clinic, but this is true for many, many clinics across the United States. And why is this? Due to these punitive laws in banned states, people are having to wait longer to get into clinics. They're having to spend more time patching together resources for travel, or they may simply not know where to look for medical care. We are told, however, by those who so adamantly oppose abortion that these bans are in place to protect life. And thus, at the federal level, they've wiped their hands of equal protection across this country. The authors of a Lancet article, which was published in November of 2022, stated, quote, "Parents denied a wanted abortion are more likely to face economic hardship that might last for years and are more likely to remain in relationships with abusive partners. These consequences will be amplified in adolescent parents who are already more likely to have pregnancy complications, postpartum depression, economic hardship, and intimate partner violence." Additionally, study after study tells us that where there are abortion restrictions, childhood poverty is higher, with worse outcomes for children. In a Brookings Institution article, the authors illustrate for readers that states where children are born into inferior circumstances are also some of the states that have the most restrictive abortion laws. And the top 10 here, I believe, are Missouri, Idaho, Florida, South Dakota, Tennessee, Arizona, Oklahoma, Georgia, Nevada, and Texas, with Nevada being the only state in this group that has limited abortion restrictions. What this has done is increase the gulf in healthcare across the United States between rich and poor, urban and rural, red state, blue state, the educated and the less educated, and so forth. It has put people of color in a more marginalized healthcare situation. It has also been devastating to people in states where there was already a lack of healthcare access, as well as extreme poverty rates in states such as Mississippi and Oklahoma. In an article in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine, researchers found that states with the most obstructive abortion laws had a 16% increased infant mortality rate from the years 2014 to 2018. Compared to the other states with the least restrictions. What will it take in our society to show pregnant individuals and their children that they're valued? It means supporting pregnant people in their decision-making, refraining from injecting our own values or sense of morality. It means having systems that exist to nurture babies that are born who need and deserve to thrive. It means that we must have access to quality sex education and broad access to contraception, which will reduce the very thing that anti-choice folks so fervently rail against. It means having equal access to medical insurance. It means living in a society where we see beyond our own lens, where we can truly consider the needs, values, and desires of other people. This is how we express love. This is not just about abortion, even though I've talked a lot about abortion. Abortion is just the convenient wedge issue. This is about one's ability to decide with each and every pregnancy what is right for them, what is in their hearts. No legislative body, no governor, nor judge can dictate what is in a person's heart. When we begin to honor the power that people have in regard to each and every pregnancy, we will then see healthier families and communities. We will then be surrounded by love.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you. Invite you to reach out and connect with those around you if you feel comfortable, hand on shoulder or holding hands if you feel like it, and just connecting with our community in whatever way feels right to you. And before our closing words, I would like to remind you that we will have people with petitions for you to sign. There's a little drama going on here in the front. We will have, I think Sue and Vonne and Pat will be here to sign petitions to get to change a constitutional amendment around abortion. So you can sign those either here in the back or over at coffee hour. And we will begin our forum with Julie in about 15, 20 minutes. So grab your cup of coffee and snack and come on back. Okay.
As we venture out into the world today, and as we go about our busy lives, please hold dear and with mindfulness the people in this country who are suffering due to inequality. These are sometimes people who may have no family or friends to turn to in a time of need. They might be people who are struggling for food and shelter. They might be financially unable to access essentials. They might be people who are judged by the color of their skin. This injustice has only been made worse by a society that has relegated people who are already marginalized just that much further out. As we go about our daily lives, I encourage all of us to have those sometimes difficult conversations with our families, neighbors, colleagues, and friends, with the hope that we can help to illuminate the love and compassion that people deserve, instead of a world where people are caught in an unjust and unbalanced web. Collectively, we can make a difference. We can be the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
You want to walk back with me down here?
Yeah.